Hi everybody, Courtney here to have a little frugal chat with you. I really love these little money chats. Sometimes I have an idea for like a big, theme, and sometimes I just have a million little tidbits, bits and bobs, if you will, like doing a pantry clean out where I have all these little thoughts in my mind that I want to share, but no real forum to do them. And so first of all, I want to say thank you for being here. My channel is fairly small, and I did not start this channel with the intent on making it a side hustle or a business. It's just something I do that if my experience helps someone else, that's great. I started it actually for my children who are now adults. So I think it's been over 10 years now that I've been, it's been since 2007 that I've been blogging or vlogging. I closed my blogs down because I was married then, and there was to someone else, and there was a lot of information in there I just didn't feel comfortable having out there now that I'm remarried. So at any rate, I only vlog these days, meaning I video blog. So I wanted to share with you how it's going, what happened in March, and if you like this, I really appreciate it. I am not monetized, meaning I do not make money from my channel, even though you see ads. But if that ever happened, that would be nice. So if you could give her a thumbs up and follow along and subscribe if you find value in this content. So in March, I did a no spend, and many of you, or a low spend, many of you were kind of following along with me, and I wanted to tell you how that went. I ended up saving about 25 to 30% off of our spending. I put everything, ran it through our checking account or through our credit card, which I pay off monthly. I never use a credit card if I don't have the money in the bank, and I'm very mindful of my spending with a credit card, thinking if I had cash, would I spend this money? So I try to look at everything that we're doing, and it's just taught me, it's reinforced in me. I already knew it, but it's reinforced in me that what is measured can be managed. And by that, I mean, before I would go out, every time I would leave to go somewhere and buy something, or even online, I would look to see where we were, how much we had spent for the month, because that's easy to do if you're using a credit card and there's only a few things that come out of my checking account. And I could see, okay, well, my budget was this and we're at this, so we can't afford to do anything else, or it's not in the budget. And that was great, and it worked wonderful. And then last week hit. Now, technically, it's still March, so I'm still in a low spend, but my credit card cycle runs from the 22nd to the 22nd, so I kind of do my month like that. And last week, we had an unexpected propane bill hit and an unexpected medical bill hit. I thought that all the medical bills were paid for my husband's recent surgery, and we got an unexpected $1,000 one in the mail. I had to pay that. I was able to cash flow it though. And the propane, I thought that I had put enough propane in to last us till the end of summer, and I had not. It's just an oversight on my part. So we had to get propane, but the lady kind of helped me figure out our usage per month and how to do it the most effective way. And she told me the best time to fill up for propane is to fill your tank for the year in the middle of summer, July or August, because that's when it's generally the cheapest. So I ended up choosing to get less this time, but it was still almost $500. And that way I put on my calendar at the end of July to call and fill up for the year. And that way it will save me some money. So I did learn something from that, but it was unexpected, and that's eaten up a large portion of our budget this month. The next thing is that I have just been learning to shop the sales. Since I have more time now, since I have been off working for other people, I just work for my husband and myself with our Airbnb and our roofing business, I have been able to shop the sales better, to learn more about shopping sales. I've been just really educating myself. Like, I was at Walmart last night. I immediately now, when I go to the store, I go to the clearance aisles to see if there's something there that I need or use. Now, I try not to buy things I don't need or use. So like, if I don't care about shampoo, I only have a few requirements: sulfate-free, paraben-free, and cruelty-free. So if I see a shampoo conditioner that I like that's there, I'm going to buy it. If I did see bird feed there on sale last night for my dad. I did spend $7. And I just sometimes enjoy doing things for people like that. But I'm also mindful that I don't want to just go to the clearance aisle and buy things just because they're on sale, because that can be a slippery slope as well. But like, I found some green beans on sale, so I got those. and we're having them for dinner tonight. So just kind of being mindful of shopping the sales, but only buying what you will use and need. And also, if something's not a great price, noticing that, like, what's the cost per use. So let me give you an example. There's a juicer there that's been marked down from $79 to $59. Well, my husband and I used to juice a lot, and we really like to, especially in the summer, but it is expensive to juice, and we generally just make smoothies. But I like the green juices and stuff, especially when it's hot in the summer. You don't feel like eating a lot, and you just kind of feel like you need that extra boost. So the cost per use, I've decided if I can get it for under 40, it would be good to replace my juicer, because my juicer is like 30 years old and not looking very good. And this one is the Drew Barrymore line of juicer. It's a little big and bulky, but so is mine. So I'll get rid of mine if I, in fact, get that one. And I'll probably just donate mine if someone wants it. But I learned that Walmart does their markdowns the first 5 days of every month, according to the internet. So I will be, sorry, it's raining here and it's making my ears and sinuses kind of go a little haywire. So I will go in there the first of the month to see if they've marked it down further. If it doesn't go below 40 or around there, I probably won't get it. The next one is I wanted to talk about a really kind of interesting thing that happened. So I had a flat tire, and I no longer work in the town that is about 30 miles north of me where I used to work. I would go to the tire shop there. I no longer work there, so I just went to Walmart last night and had them fix the flat. They could not fix it, so they were like, well, do you want to just get another tire? Well, that would have been around $130. I almost did, because I'm like, I don't want to drive, home and then have to drive 30 miles north on a donut. But I decided that my tires weren't that old. They were like a year old, that I really didn't want to get another tire, and I thought I probably had a warranty. So this morning I got up, I drove to the tire shop. My husband is a policeman in that town, and I went the back way, went really slow, and they fixed my tire for $13. So that saved me over $100 by just being slightly inconvenienced and thinking about the options that were available to me and not rushing into a decision just for convenience. I also wanted to talk about something. I wrote this down the other day when I was at the hotel. Does frugal mean unfashionable? Because I do think a lot of times when we look at these frugal channels, not all of them, but many of them, you'll see people that are kind of dressed like really outdated, and they don't care. That's fine. To each his own, totally. But I think there is a stigma that frugal has to mean unfashionable. And I'm not saying, a lot of times when y'all see me, I haven't put a whole lot of effort because I'm just home now. But I used to work and outside of the home, and I dressed up every day pretty much. And a lot of the clothes I have right now just do not fit my life because they're my work clothes, and they're not my, I get up basically every day and I dress to work out and do housework because that's my life. I cook, I do housework, I work out, I work in my home office, I clean our Airbnb. My life is not conducive to dress pants and dress shirts. So I've been thinking a lot about this, and so what I do, I've mentioned this before, is there is a resale boutique. Most people have resale shops in their area, and I call them boutiques because they kind of carry the, let's say someone has a pair of name brand pants or something like that, and they don't want to give them to Goodwill. They'll take them to this resale boutique, and maybe that pair of pants costs $100. The resale boutique will sell them for $20 or $30, and the person who sold them will get 30 or 40% of that. So I sell my clothes every spring and fall. I take as many clothes as I can, at least 20 items, and I sell them there, and then I get a credit. Right now I have so much credit I can't even use it all. And then I go in randomly and I just buy things I like, just kind of like shopping clearance, and I put them together. And how I continue to stay fashionable is I go onto Pinterest and I pin outfits that I like, and then when I go into the resale boutique, I look for similar type items. Now, I will occasionally pick something up at Walmart or Target or someplace like that, but for the most part, I'm just shopping the resale boutiques. I really don't shop department stores anymore. Maybe Old Navy, but my life is just not conducive to that. I live on a farm. So I totally believe that you can stay fashionable and be frugal by shopping sales, by shopping lower cost items. Be careful with fast fashion. We know that it really takes a toll on the planet. And a lot of the reasons I do so much of this are environmental. For me, sustainability is huge. Simple living, watching my budget. Last night I found a dress called Free Assembly at Walmart. It's one of, they don't carry it in the Walmart that I have here, but they carry it online. It's a little higher up, like the little dress was like $28. They had it on clearance for $14 because someone had returned it from Walmart online and they put it on the clearance rack. So be mindful to check those clearance racks, and you definitely can be fashionable. Even when I had to shop like Goodwill and the really kind of lower end thrift stores, I was still able to find good fashionable clothes. You had to dig a little bit more. And I will say, I think it's gotten harder since seems like the younger generation has gotten a lot more into thrift, and it seems a little bit harder these days. If you're at those lower cost places like Goodwill, but there are still deals to be found. Just make sure as soon as you bring everything home, you wash it and make sure it's clean before and inspect it well before you purchase it. The last thing I want to talk about, two more things I want to talk about is stealth wealth. And this is something that I'm kind of humbling myself to you all to talk about, which is the fact that I feel like I've really made a mistake. And so my husband and I, not in a bragging type of way, but have talked to our family about our finances. We have told them where we are financially. Obviously, it was on a podcast. I was a little nervous doing that podcast, at those of you who've seen that and came here from that. Because on paper, we look like we're doing really well, but our monthly income is pretty average. And so we have a house that's paid for. We have investments. They're really not huge for our age. And then we have savings that we've accumulated because of the past few years. We grew a business and we've been living way below our means. But that honey pot will dry up, if you will, when my husband retires. So we are trying to prepare to live on a very modest income, about $40,000 to $50,000 a year, until my Social Security kicks in. But I've kind of, when my kids have said things to me, they're grown adults now, about money, we kind of, in a way to say, I would say strategically, one kid knows mostly where we are because he's in charge of our trust if something happens. So I've told him, like, these are the accounts we have. These are, the investments we have, and all of this is here. And there's round about this much in here. So there's enough to pay for, arrangements and bills and things like that. And this is what you need to do with it. He has never taken advantage of that. But I do feel like, because we've been very open with our family about our finances, and I've been open, I don't want to say too much. I feel like that's opened the door for some expectations. And I wanted to talk about what stealth wealth is. And I'm afraid it's going to make this a little longer video. It's basically living a lifestyle that isn't flashy. And the reasons for that would be like maybe driving an older, modest vehicle, not a luxury, fancy car, living in a middle-class house, not going and doing like really fancy vacations. Not that there's anything wrong with any of those things, but realizing that when you do that, if you're wearing the Rolex watch and you're driving the very expensive car and you're living in the 5,000 square foot house, people perceive that as that you're rich or wealthy, and that there's an expectation that maybe you can afford to buy them things, or you should pick up the tab, or that you'll take care of things if there's a problem. And I would say I definitely feel like some of that has happened, and it may be more me and my codependency, but I told my husband, from this point forward, I do not want to talk about our finances anymore with our family. One thing that happened this past week is with our business, we got our income tax bill, and it was a lot. And we had some other issues with our business, that we had some really kind of large bills that are unexpected. It's just the nature of our business. But anyway, I'm prepared for them, but they're huge. They're huge. It's a huge amount of money. And it's just the business that we're in, the amount we make, we only profit about 15% of what we bring in. So in construction. So, it can appear to other people that we're doing really, really well if they hear those numbers or they see those numbers. It's one reason I got my family out of helping me with business, because if a family member sees your books and they see that these huge checks are being deposited, but they don't equate that you are paying all these different bills, or maybe you're saving for a certain business expense, they may think that there's just an expectation that you'll take care of, the family. And that can be fine. And I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. We definitely do. But you want to feel like you're having genuine relationships with people, that you feel like your relationships are not based on your financial situation, that people are there for you because they value you and not your finances. You want to feel like there's not expectations on you, and you want to be able to know that you can help, but it's not expected, because that also can lead to enabling. And a lot of times it will stop people, especially children or adult children, from solving their own problems if you jump in and fix their problems for them. So I've been kind of pulling back. I'm not going to go into the details, but I started to notice I was doing some things that were keeping some people in my life from solving their own problems. Now, I'm not going to let anybody in my family go hungry, and probably not homeless either, but I am going to have to pull back and see if these people can figure some things out for themselves. So I won't go too much into that, but just remember, if you're watching this and you have a high income or a high net worth, sometimes the high net worth doesn't equate with a high income. And so, or if you are building wealth, to be mindful, to be kind of under the radar and stealthy about it. Honestly, I would be afraid to buy a fancy car, because I'm afraid that someone would rob me or that someone would just make assumptions about me. I mean, there's more kids coming to not really where I live, but if, let's just say a scenario where your neighbor has a child that's selling something fundraising, and they fundraise all the time, or all the children in the neighborhood fundraise. Well, they're going to go to the fanciest house, obviously, and expect that they're going to sell something every time, because of course those people can afford it. And you may not want those things. You may not want more stuff, but there's a sense of kind of guilt that, well, you should. So just be mindful to kind of fly under the radar. Be careful who you talk to, even your loved ones, because sometimes it may come across more as, it's not always a great, it can be like you're being kind of stuck up or something if you're talking about it. So I don't think we've been that way, but it's been more like, here, we turned our life around from broke to this, you can too. But that didn't work out the way I thought it would with certain people. So, and the last thing I want to talk about before I end this very long video is how the sabbatical in my retirement is going. And I will just say that I went on sabbatical in November to heal from illness, and I am doing so much better. I'm not perfect today. Actually, I'm having a lot of problems with my RA. My joints are swelling, which was a reminder to me of why I quit working. But I have updated my website to do some financial coaching and consulting, to just do a call or 2 or 3 or 4. I have a package of 1 or 4 or individually. And also a plant-based eating consult if someone wanted that, because I created meal plans for the business that I used to work for, but they're my property. So I have those. And then I also, in my own community, I'm a yoga therapist, but I also am a solution-focused coach. So I create some packages for that. And honestly, I'm not really trying to create a new job for myself. I'm happy to be semi-retired, but I miss kind of talking to people about things that interest me. Those are things I really love. And so it's a good way for me to kind of get back to working a little bit to help pay for all my credentials and all my insurance I have to pay for every year, because just for me to hold those credentials, it's quite expensive every year. So anyway, I'll share that link below if you're interested, or if you know someone who might be interested. And I just appreciate y'all being here. Have a wonderful day, and let me know how you're doing in the comments below. Thank you. Bye-bye.